How are y'all doing? Hope you're all doing well. I'm doing pretty good and rested. Just glad to get this game up and going. Let me bring this up here, just so I can monitor things. Alright, let's see. Let me get things situated. I'm not too sure if I told you guys or not, but got some Blu-rays recently and was annoyed at having to go to a retro game shop just to get it cleaned because it was acting up. Okay. I need to get the link here. Alright. Channel. Alright. Luckily today's game isn't going to be an online one, so no need to worry about anything that happened last time. The link. Now it's just time to share it out. Might go a little quicker today. Alright. And also, better get up today's question of the day for you all. So he's got something to do. What skill? Okay, let me go get this dealt with, but my answer to that is that everyone should be able to have the ability to think. Got that. But yeah, everyone should definitely be thinking. As I'm getting older and such, I'm encountering a lot of situations of signs of people not thinking that well. Like, I will admit that I am not perfect in that category either, but the thing that really annoys me is people over here, they tend to value family a lot, and it's not a bad thing to value that, because a person does need their family, but that doesn't mean that it should be just your nuclear family or the family established through paper, which a lot of people do. It's more so that what happens a lot, from what I've seen, is when we get older, our bodies break down a lot, and in the States, it gets pretty bad, not because of just us getting our bodies breaking down due to age. It's more so that people that in the States just like rely too much on their cars to the point where they're viewed as the key to freedom. And so in that kind of situation, if you say want to live next to your family, you're kind of giving up that ability to be free on your own, so that if something bad happens that people can't get there in time to resolve, it just doesn't make things easy on the other person. Especially because a lot of us just don't help each other. They're just, you've got a lot of people that are like, your family will always be there and such. And yes, some of the people around are pretty good about that. And say they've got a good family. There's nothing wrong with that. But if all you do is just rely on family, you're going to be hosed. And then you've also got other problems too. Just like, people don't know how to think anymore. I should probably check here. I don't want that to go to sleep. But that's how I go about it. There are others out there that might be worth it to learn. Other skills like cooking and such. But generally, cooking is one that can be dangerous, particularly for the individual, even if it does result in healthier choices for foods and such. Anyway, got the link out, so copy. There we go. Okay, nothing to worry about there. But yeah, I had to take care of an annoying Blu-ray. I'm glad I did. It wasn't the fact I didn't like the Blu-ray, it's just more of a problem that I don't like dealing with, and it always puts me on edge. And I'd have to just toss something I put money on. But luckily it worked out like the last time that I had to do that, and things worked out just fine. Still, it is kind of annoying to have to go to such a shop. They have some cool stuff there to look at, because you can still get the games for some pretty old consoles out there. But it's just annoying when I have to do it for physical media. And I would love to go all digital on my stuff, but a lot of places are like, you've got to accept DRM on our stuff because we don't trust you. Okay, got the links shared out. Alright. So, I am going to get a drink, and then I will pull up the game. If you guys are bored and need something to check out, be sure to answer today's question of the day. If you don't see it, enter the command in the title of the stream that's there while I'm live, and that should come up. I will check on the answers you all provide when I get back, and then I will bring up the game. And with that, I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. Okay, it looks like I don't have anything to worry about. Okay. Now then, I can get this off and switch outputs. And do that. Go. Alright, here we are. Welcome in. Quite the opening here. But good morning, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Oh my. Child and Granny are gonna be involved in this? Okay, that was quite an opening there. Okay, so that's where our marker is, but let's go on through it.
ペコリ
Let's see. Bow.
ようこそノベルアドベンチャーゲームレイジングループの世界へ
I bid you welcome to the world of this visual novel, Raging Loop.
私は単なるドルに足らないインターフェイス的キャラクターです
I am nobody.
リカとでもお呼びください
I am nobody special, honestly. Simply consider me part of the interface. You may refer to me as Rika. Rikako, I want to say. Sure. Are you going to be the ultimate enemy and you're just trying to put us at ease?
ここでは初めてプレイなさる皆様にこのゲームの遊び方を簡単にご説明いたしたいと存じます
You are most likely playing this game for the first time, and I am here to explain a few things about it.
いくつか変わったところのあるゲームですので最初はぜひとも全部の説明をお読みいただきたいと思います
This game is quite strange, you see. It's recommended that the uninitiated take the time to read everything here.
特に動画配信をなさる方は4動画やシェアについてだけでも必ずお読みくださいね
I see. Let's see, those uploading gameplay should at least read 4 videos and sharing
最後
section.
まで読んでいただけたら私のセクシーな画像が見られません世間は厳しゅうございます
If you read until the end, you'll find a sexy CG of me doesn't exist. We truly do live in a society, a harsh society. How sad.
さて何からご説明いたしましょう
Now, where should I begin? Okay. Let's do the about.
レイジングループはノベルアドベンチャーゲームというジャンルでございます
Yes, Raging Loop is a visual novel. Of course, I knew it was.
小説のように文章で物語が綴られ読んで楽しむゲームです
Okay, much like with regular novels, the story is told through text and the enjoyment comes from reading
世
it.
に言う人狼ゲームと深く関係する物語ではありますが人狼ゲームそのものではないのでご注意を
If you are familiar with party games, Werewolf and Mafia, this visual novel bears a close resemblance to those, but keep in mind, it is just that, a
ス
resemblance.
ーパー人工知能リカコ20人と永遠の人狼ゲームを楽しめるとご期待された方すみませんざめざめ
Sincerest apologies to those who are hoping to play an eternal game of Werewolf with 20 super AI Rikakos. I weep and bleed for you, truly how
もち
sad.
ろんただの小説ではございません時折現れる選択肢によって物語が変化するすごい小説なのです
Of course, this is not merely a novel. As you carry on, you'll sometimes come upon choices which affect the story. It's quite
モンスタ
amazing.
ーたちが生き生きと描写され生き生きとボイスを喋ります作品世界に没頭できること受け合いです
Characters have lively visual depictions as well as voices, making it easy to immerse yourself in this
せ
world.
っかくの声をお楽しみになるためや突如絶叫が響き渡らないためにイヤホンなどされるのも良いかと
See, to enjoy the voices to the fullest extent or to simply avoid bothering your neighbors with the sound of anguish screams, please consider using headphones.
とっても大ボリュームな物語ですので没頭しすぎて数日徹夜なんてことになるやもご注意くださいね
Let's see, this story is obscenely lengthy as well, so please take care not to be drawn in so thoroughly that you begin losing
な
sleep.
お もうご存知かと思いますが、レイジングループは架空の殺人事件、恐怖事件を扱ったお話です。
Also, you may be aware of this already, but Raging Loop is based entirely around fabricated murders and horrific scenes.
サスペンス、スリラー、ホラー、そして謎に挑み解決するお話がお好きなあなたにぴったりの物語。
It's tailor-made for all you fans of suspense, thrillers, horror, and mystery. I'm particularly interested in the thrillers and mystery. Mostly mystery, but then again, as I think I said before on these streams, mystery is kind of complicated. Because a lot of people don't realize is that it gets kind of complex because you've got crime fiction, you've got detective fiction, and within detective fiction you've got hard-boiled and whodunits and howdunnits and such. Just so complicated, and that's like part of the mystery aspect of them. But a detective doesn't need to be involved in a mystery, and neither does a crime. They can be, but they don't have to, which is why I consider them a bit separate.
もちろんこの物語は作り事で、実際の人物や団体や思想や事件などとは一切関係がございません。
Of course, this is a work of fiction, so it has nothing to do with real people, groups, and incidents.
作中の学問知識、歴史、宗教、神話、科学、医学等の知識は創作を含みます。テストに解いたら0点です。
It also includes fictional details about academic matters such as history, religion, mythology, science, and medicine. Relying upon it during exams would get you 0 points. How sad.
そして描かれる犯罪や惨劇については現実のそんな行為を推奨する意図など全くございません。
Lastly, we do not endorse replicating the crimes and cruelty depicted in this work.
そんな感じで現実との区別をしっかりおつけになったらもう大丈夫。本作を思いっきり楽しんでくださいね。
See, there's nothing to worry about as long as you differentiate between reality and fiction. This is, after all, fiction. I'm sure you are intelligent enough not to conflate things that happen in the game world with things that happen in real life. So enjoy Raging Loop to your heart's content. Okay. So let's do these two and then go on to the main story. Because I think the way that this is expected to have gone about it is for them to... is they're like expecting me to started this up before doing this. And I really think that they should have put this stuff in the extras instead of making me go through it. Like, these disclaimers and such, they are useful. And I'm glad I put it up here for that. But some of this other stuff just doesn't seem to fit right with how the visual novel format's supposed to go.
レイジングループの独特な機能について説明いたしますね。
So you allow me to tell you about Raging Loop's special
レイジングループの
functions.
ストーリーは複雑に分岐しております。どう分岐したのか管理するのは大変かもしれません。
See, Raging Loop's story branches out in ways so complicated it might be hard to
で
follow.
も心配無用。本作ではシナリオチャートという便利機能が採用されています。
But there's no need to worry, for we have included a handy function called the scenario
メニュ
chart.
ーを開けばチャートという機能にいつでもアクセスでき、そこからシナリオの全図が見られるのです。
You can access it anytime by simply opening the menu, giving you an overview of the scenario.
このシナリオチャートを使えば、入ったことのあるチャプターにいつでもどこでもどこからでも移動が可能。
And that's not all. Using the chart allows you to move to any chapter you've already been to, anytime, anywhere. That's pretty nice. The last visual novel before Tales from Toyotoki that I've dealt with was Archetype Arcadia, and a lot of the time, like when you started a new run and such, it would have a little guidance thing that you could bring up and go back to parts that you didn't get right. Hey Jason, how are you doing? I'm doing good here. This game is already a bit weird because this stuff that I'm going through, I would expect it to be like in the extras menu, not right here where it's got me presented with this right when I say read. But I hope you're doing well, Jason. And did you check out today's question of the day?
もう選択肢では必ずセーブとは申しません。これでいつでも選択肢は選び直せますので、ご心配なく。
Yeah, there's no need to save at every choice you come across. You can simply go back and choose again, so there's nothing to worry about.
シナリオチャート機能については、また後でもう一度使いどころの説明がありますので、よくわからなくても大丈夫ですよ。
The scenario chart function will be explained again when you have to use it, so don't worry if you don't quite understand it.
次に、キーについて。
Next up is
レイジングルー
keys.
プの物語分岐は、すべて選択肢を選んだ瞬間に発生いたします。後から聞くものは存在しません。
All branching in the story happens immediately when you make a choice. None of them start taking effect further down the line. So the branches happen immediately. Nice.
いくつかの選択肢は、キーと呼ばれる特定の情報がないと開くことができません。
However, some of the choices can only be unlocked when you have specific bits of information called
この
keys.
キーを探すことこそ、レイジングループの大きな目的だと言えるでしょう。
So I'm probably gonna need a guide to do this for the keys, just to know what paths I have to take to get them. So don't be surprised if I am using a guide for this. I've never claimed to do blind playthroughs, but I try to avoid guides as much as I can. But let's see, many might say that searching for these keys is one of the major goals in this
この
game.
探し方は、実際に手に入った時に説明があるそうですので、ご心配なく。
Don't worry if you don't understand how to search for them, it will be explained when you have
ち
one.
なみに、一度キーを入手して解放されたルートは、セーブデータと関係なく開きっぱなしになります。
Additionally, keep in mind that all routes unlocked by acquisition of a key will be open even if you haven't saved after the
逆
fact.
に言うと、キーが未入手の状態には、ロードしても戻れません。
That's good. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Of course, isn't that kind of a hard thing to learn technically? Because a lot of people, when they are like, you've gotta learn empathy, they're like, put yourself in the other person's shoes, but all you're doing at that point is projecting. You're not really understanding the other person. You're like projecting you, your current self, onto another person, but that's not really what they think when you get the idea of what you think that they might be going through. So it seems like a complicated thing to me. It's a good thing to have empathy, though. Yes, I agree. Let's see. This also means that you can't load back to a state when you didn't have the key.
それで読めなくなる文章はありませんので、あまり困ることはないと思いますが、ご承知くださいね。
This doesn't make any scene inaccessible, so it's not much of a problem, but it's something to keep in
キーが
mind.
ない状態に戻して遊びたいという既得なお方には、全データを初期化する手もあります。
For those
計画的に。
For those commendable individuals who would like to play without any keys again, please refer to the data reset option. Use it wisely. So yeah, you see all these things. I'm not gonna do standard functions. I just did the about the game and special function. This one proved as a nice disclaimer for the stream. And this one was what we just did, so just gonna go right into the story.
とても長くなってしまいました。ここまでお読みいただき、誠にありがとう存じます。
That sure took a while. Thank you kindly for reading this far.
それでは、いよいよ物語の始まりです。
Anyway, Yeah. That's true. A lot of things are like that. And I agree with you. Yep. Yep, and I can agree with that. Social and asking questions so that you don't make the wrong assumptions. Yeah. Well, just do your best and don't beat yourself up when you fail, because they say success is built on failure. But yeah, what I answered to that question was critical thinking, or people need to learn to think a lot more. No problem, Jason. See, let's get back to this. Anyway, let's begin the story.
限りなく濃い霧と血煙の向こう。繰り返される絶望と悲嘆の果て。
Beyond the pockets of mist and hazes of blood at the end of the ever-repeating despair and
人
grief.
狼村の真実を、どうか、その目でご覧くださいませ。
Yeah, and I can agree, it goes along with it. A lot of things in this life just comes with a lot of thinking in it. My example of the thinking was like how a lot of people grow up and they want to get closer to family or be close to family when they grow older, but it's kind of a tough spot in here because while it's nice to be near family and have access to them and have help like that, family can't be there a lot of times, and you also kind of lose your independence as you get older thanks to how the car is so incredibly important in the States, and people view it as a key to freedom. And if you choose to be with family instead of being able to have a choice of how you go places and such, you're going to be quite miserable and frustrated. It's not guaranteed, but I see a lot of elderly people like frustrated and such that they need to ask for help in things that they didn't need to, especially when they're forced to give up their license. Hey Mira, how's it going? You just caught the beginning and I was having a conversation with someone over on the other side. Let's see, so back here. Please come and witness the truth of the werewolf village with your own two eyes. Bow. $5.11 Sunday, huh? So, yeah. And it's a situation I don't want my mom to be in, but if she chooses to be in that situation, then I've got to let it. All I can do is, like, just warn her that it's a mistake. It's nice that she wants to be with family and that, but I don't want to see her frustrated of having to only be able to get around by relying on family like her kids, grandkids, or nieces and nephews, or their children, kind of thing. Let's see, I closed in on the side of the road and killed the engine. It was steeper than I thought. My bike was on the verge of giving out, so I pushed down and deployed the kickstand. Well, I'm lost. Maybe taking a ride down an unknown road with no sat-nav on me wasn't such a good idea. No sat-nav, well, that's what they're calling the GPS here, I take it. Who knows, but we'll find out. I just followed the roads, so I'd figured I wouldn't get lost, but now I was in some deep shit. No, cool it. This isn't a big deal. I sighed, took note of the fact that I'd gotten lost in my pocket journal, and then pulled out a map. Suddenly, a rush of memories flitted into my mind. Let's see. Rush of memories. Apparently we can't do this because it requires a key, so I have to do this top one. And to think this would have been a good opportunity to have a poll, at least if it was worth it, but all I see is opportunity for a poll, not if it's worth it. So we'll see. Yeah, I figured. Hey, Mira. Did you sleep well, Mira? Yeah, I figured that's what it meant. It was just more of me figuring out if it was GPS. It's kind of the obvious thing when you think about it due to the short one, but a lot of stories call things different things, and mine, sometimes it's just made up terms. But let's say, forget it on this choice since this second requires a key. I somehow kept myself from remembering those things. After all, I'd gone on this trip to forget.
もう
See,
やめやめ。目の前の現実を直視。
enough of that. I gotta focus on what's happening right now.
人生はシンプル。つまりこの道のごとく、真っ暗で道案内もなく、進むか返すか。考えることはそれだけ。
Life is simple, just like this road. It's dark and there aren't any guides, but that means all you gotta think about is whether you go forward or back. Going back wasn't an option in this case, so I just moved forward. Still, I wanted to know where I was at least, so I looked down at my map. It was all Greek to me. Last time I'd seen a sign, it was still light out, meaning that I'd gotten lost after the sun had set. Sure, it was my own fault for just guessing which intersections I'd been passing through, and that it had taken me 2 hours to conclude I was lost. Crazy to think that just 2 hours of aimless driving got me almost completely surrounded by mountains. They extended as far as the eye could see. If you flipped the scenery upside down and shook it, it's unlikely even a shred of civilization would tumble out. Besides the asphalt below, my sweet ride, and the lamppost above, the first one in a while, mind you, there was nothing man-made here. The pocket map I had wasn't detailed enough for me to figure out where I was.
進むか。
Guess I'll just keep driving. As far as I go, no, I'd go as far as I could. Worst comes to worst, I could just camp at the side of the road. This definitely is taking place sometime in the past if he's using a paper map and worrying about all that, though modern day GPS can also be a bit hard because if you're out on foot or something, you sometimes have to look at the GPS stuff saying for it to tell you what should be around where you want to be, and you kind of have to look around and adjust yourself at that point unless you allow your mapping application to have location services, but Google doesn't help you with that too much. And I should know I've had problems with Google Maps. You can't? Well, who knows? Someone might find it eventually. Let's see. 2 hours later, I deeply regretted ever thinking that. Basically, camping wasn't an option. Yeah. I see. Well, like I said, somebody might find that. Yeah, it definitely is. But I know for sure because I have had who knows how many times where I had to just like stand there and try and map reality to the Google Maps. I see. Let's see. This mountain road had no side to camp on. A dump truck I passed barely even fit on it. And me, when it comes to GPS stuff, I kind of prefer Apple Maps. Like, sure, it wasn't that good when it first came out, but the way it puts things on the phone around it and such, it's a little easier to translate between what I see on the GPS and the real world. And that's something that you have got to do when you look at maps of any kind, whether digital or physical. Yeah, sounds like one is here. Let's see. Let's see. So, read this again if I haven't already. This mountain had no side road to camp on. A dump truck I passed barely even fit on it. That is funny there, Jason. Yeah, that is funny, Jason. And like, I'm sure glad it didn't run you into the ocean, like, because there's been instances of death by GPS. Not too sure if any of those instances involved the ocean, but it's really led people into situations that bad. Let's see. Back to here. I had also had my first close encounters with wild forest animals. I'd already seen 2 boars and 3 deer in those 2 hours alone. One of the deer had run parallel. Yeah. Let's see, one of the deer had run parallel to my bike while intently staring at me. I had no idea what to think of that. I felt like it could smell my fear and did it just to make it worse. How dare the thing do that to a human? We're the kings of this planet, damn it. I'd have to remember to eat venison once. Yeah, I'd have to remember to eat some venison once I come back to civilization. For some reason back there when you mentioned eating venison, I remember Silver Spoon and how The main character was out in the countryside trying to visit somebody. I forget the situation around it, but essentially he was with a family in their like little truck, and they ran down a deer, and they were like, well, we've got dinner, let's eat it. And people like me and other city slickers are like, are you seriously gonna do that? Let's see. Anyway, camping out here was a bad idea. I'd end up as either roadkill or animal food. And yet, I didn't back out. Why? Because I'm a pretty warped sort of guy, and I won't pretend otherwise. That was actually the reason why my once comfortable relationship had gone awry, and why I'd gone on this stupid trip. Still, despite acknowledging that I chose to keep moving forward, I'm not surprised. I think I've heard of some places, not any to say particularly that, but particularly where they are, but I'm not surprised that that's actually allowed, because when you think about it, you've got to eat, and if the situation is desperate enough, you're not going to care what the rules are, so if the rules allow it anyway, that just makes things a lot easier. Let's see here. Still, despite acknowledging that, I chose to keep moving forward. It wasn't like I'd find a place to stay if I went back. I was actually starting to think that this experience might make a good conversation piece sometime down the road. It was really getting late at this point. Where would these roads take me anyway? It'd probably be disappointing. Soon enough, the road became flat. I was out of the mountain pass. The forests remained abundant though, so I still didn't see much. Even so, the streetlights and signs were enough to make me feel I was again nearing civilization. With streetlights Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Could say that this is kind of Halloween spirit too. Like, we haven't encountered anything creepy yet, but when you look at the details regarding this game and how it's supposed to be kind of a high stakes werewolf game setup, it's like, yeah, this definitely fits for the Halloween season that we're coming up upon. Let's see. Was streetlights the right expression for lights in a forest? I'd have to look that up. As the road grew less rugged, I realized just how exhausted I was. All this bike handling had left my hands really sore too. Don't think I caught that, Jason. Unless you forgot to put something, I'm gonna check on chat there. There I am. There's the thing. Ah. Got it. Yeah. You're fine. I noticed that was an emoji. I'm glad you liked that. Let's see. As the road... Let's see. As the road grew less rugged, I realized just how exhausted I was. All this bike handling had left my hands really sore too. I really had to rest. Suddenly I saw something unexpected. Powerful color artificial lights. Now this is getting creepy. Powerful, colorful artificial lights. Quite the mood setting here. A convenience store? Yep. Let's see. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It is next to an intersection between the road I was on and another, even thinner road that could probably support only a single car. The sea of trees ended, giving room for the majestic child of our consumerist society. That kind of has me laughing because it's so true, we are a consumerist society. Yeah, that was an exaggeration. Apparently even a damn store was a big deal for someone who just stepped out of the wild. It was called Freshmark. I'd seen several of them a few times during the day. It was probably a local franchise. The building didn't look all that old. At least the parking lot looked a lot smoother compared to the roads. This was a pretty weird place to build something like that, though. Was I close to settlement, or did they actually make a profit off of lost travelers? I'd just ask that or something. A local shopkeeper was bound to know what was around these parts, not to mention I was thirsty. I was welcomed by a weird chime sound. It looked like a normal convenience store. There were goods on the shelves, a counter on the left, and... Whoa. Why does she look like she could be from Danganronpa or something? You did, huh? Oh, that's good. What do you think of this lady here, Mira? Do you think she could be from Danganronpa? I know that she likely isn't, but her design just gives me that vibes that she could be. Let's see. The worker at the counter was so mean looking it was scary. She was so imposing I wouldn't have doubted if someone told me she was in charge of some ladies' army corps. Is that supposed to be a greeting? It was so damn cold it actually gave me chills. Was this store shadier than it appeared? Was I about to be stupidly overcharged? Was this how this place made a profit, by taking advantage of lost people and basically beating them out of their money? It probably is, or it could be a gray market business. Who knows? Shit, that was scary. Clearly, the Wonderland had only just begun. Woohoo, I sure was excited for the beating. I grew more nervous and less enthusiastic by the second. I braced myself, but she just looked down at a magazine in her hands. Oh, she was just a slacker? Yeah, glad you agree with me there, Jason. Let's see. Oh, so she was just a slacker. Slightly disappointed, I walked around the store. It is, huh? Let's see. It was about what you'd expect. There was a small shelf with energy drinks, followed by some stationaries, travel goods, sanitary stuff, etc. There were sweets that came with toys, a shelf of cup ramen and dried food, a fridge, a freezer. It all looked normal. It was late, so the daily dish and packed lunch section was completely empty. The only special thing about this place was the section full of unpacked vegetables you'd expect to see at a greengrocer's. Maybe all rural convenience stores were like this. I was slightly surprised by that, but there weren't any local fine foods or anything, so all in all, it was an unremarkable store if you ignored the clerk anyway. I took a drink and brought it to the register. Yep, she really was the highlight of this place. What kind of clerk smokes while dealing with a customer? You're actually buying? Yes, I was actually buying. She was the clerk and I'd be her god, the customer.
126 円
126 yen. Let's see. She didn't even scan it. This exchange was You think Sakamoto days? Kinda interesting that you think that, but probably so. Let's see, she didn't even scan it. This exchange was at the mercy of the clerk. God is dead. And now we have a Nietzsche's thing at the end. Maybe I had to get mad at her.
ちょっといいですか?
Can I ask something?
は?
実は道に迷ってしまって。
I'm kind let's see. Let's see, back to here. I'm kind of lost right now. I quickly turned to Meek.
町はどっちにあるでしょうか
Where can I find the nearest town? You are in the nearest town, buddy.
あっち。
There.
いや、できれば地図とか。
Don't you have a map or something?
ない。
We don't. No map? That is kind of weird. Like, might not be big enough for it to be on a map, but I'd expect some kind of local map or something. So this already has me going, what's going on? Ha ha ha. Man, this woman.
いや、そんなはずはないでしょコンビニなんて大体道聞かれるから、地図は常備してるもんでしょ
I'm not sure I believe that. Convenience stores often get asked for directions. You must have a map handy.
知らねえよ。ないもんはねえ。おとなしく来た道戻れよ。
You get Twilight Zone vibes, huh? I can probably see that happening. I've only seen a few episodes of Twilight Zone, or few things from it though. But I'm not surprised that you get that kind of vibe. Let's see. That rule? Well, we don't have one. Go back where you came from.
もう数時間迷ってるもんで、これ以上はちょっと。
Let's see. I've been lost for a few hours now. I don't think I can keep it up for much longer.
その辺の床で寝てけば。
Sleep on the floor or something. Lady, you're doing a good job making me want to punch you in the face right now because of how unhelpful you are. You're not obligated to do anything for him, but please just give him information. She had to be joking.
いや、お気持ちだけでいいんで、道だけちゃんと教えていただけたら。
I appreciate the sentiment, but I'd rather be on my way. Are you sure you can't help?
ああ、もう、せえな。待ってろ。
Alright, just wait. The clerk put her out her smoke in the ashtray and went to the staff-only area. She came back in no time.
あったわ。
Found it. So she did have a map, of course she did. Even more ill-tempered than usual, the clerk started giving an
こ
explanation.
れがこの店。で、十字路を北へ行け。
This here's this store. Go to the north of the crossroads.
うんうん。
That's kind of what I wish happened. Yep, no red eyes, but I agree with you there. I was expecting the red eyes too. Because, like, she just was unhelpful and everything until this point, and like I said, I really wanted to punch her in the face.
しばらくしたら立教があっから渡れ。最初の分岐のとこに大岩があっからそこを右折してあとは直線。
You'll find an overpass soon enough. Cross it when you come to a fork next to a giant boulder. Turn right and head straight.
この道
On this road?
だよ。
What of it?
いや、この先何もなくないです？
There's nothing there.
分かれてねえだけで集落があんだよ。
There's a settlement. It's just not on the map.
そこ以外なら？
Do you know any other
藤
places?
吉村まで行くには峠道を2時間。こっちなら30分で着く。
There's Fujiyoshi, but it's 2 hours through a mountain pass. This one's about 30 minutes away. Fujiyoshi seemed to be a village. It didn't look too far away, but the road leading to it was a huge branching mess. It was clearly just a paved mountain pass, but mountain pass. I'd had enough of those for one day. I'd probably just get lost again.
じゃあ、こっち行ってみます。ありがとうございます。
I'll go to that one then, thank you. Money? Wait. Money for information or money for the purchase? Because if it's for the information, then that would make me want to punch you in the face even more, lady. If it's for the things he got, then that makes sense. And that's fair.
はい。
Excuse me?
払ってねえだろ。茶のやつ。
You didn't pay for the tea. Yep.
ああ、じゃあ500円。
Here's 500 yen. Ding Russell. Jingle.
なぜ、お釣りを無断で募金箱に入れるんですか？
Why did you put the change in the collection box without asking
小
me?
銭多いとうぜえだろ。
Having too many coins is a pain, ain't it? Well, she's right there that having a lot of coins can be a pain, but sometimes people just feel like paying in coins, like if they're mad enough that they pay their dues in pennies instead of a check. That was a hell of a line. I casually thanked her, grabbed the plastic bottle of tea she didn't give me a bag, by the way, and left the store. I wouldn't be happy if I didn't get a bag in this kind of situation. Like, he can probably handle it just fine depending on how much she got, but I don't know. Yeah, glad you're enjoying this, Jason. And like I said, I probably wouldn't be happy if I wasn't given a bag with what he got. If it's just the bottle, that makes sense. But if it was more than the bottle, then I would be mad. Because that would just make things too cumbersome for me. I drank the tea in the parking lot and looked up at the moon. I'm scared by clouds, but still bright enough to outshine in the light of the convenience store. The clerk put me in a bad mood though, so I didn't enjoy the sight. I threw the bottle into a nearby trash can and it was nice seeing you, Jason. Thanks for coming, Jason. Yeah. Thanks for coming, Jason. Let's see. The clerk put me in a bad mood though, so I didn't enjoy the sight. I threw the bottle into a nearby trash can and aggressively drove away. Following the directions, I crossed the overpass and arrived at the first fork in the road. The byway she told me about was really narrow. I probably wouldn't have noticed it. Or not. Wouldn't have noticed. I want to say that would be if, so I'm gonna read it. If. Yeah, it's kind of a bit weird. Just sounds weird to me. I probably wouldn't have noticed it were it not for the tall boulder. Alright, that makes grammatical sense. It just feels weird to me, though. Standing there like a shrine for some traveler deity. Turning carefully, I got on the road. A minute later, I found myself in an even worse wilderness than before. A veil of dead leaves covered the ground, tall grass sided the path, and the sky above was blocked by overgrown shrubs, making it feel like I was passing a wooden tunnel. The road itself was a huge red flag. It was a wonder why I didn't turn around. The exchange from before might have pissed me off more than I thought. Still, I really didn't expect the road to just end. It happened about 15 minutes in. The view ahead suddenly turned strangely dark, and a split second later, the bike tipped forward. I reflexively hit the brakes, but it was too late. I started going down a cliff. My bike tilted downwards and its suspension was put to the greatest test yet as we basically tumbled down to the bottom. The headlights suddenly shone on some dirt and grass. I knew that I'd be flung out of my seat. Let's see, bring that up. Yeah, I read that right. Alright. Stifling a scream, I tried to work some steering and brake magic to slow down without collapsing. But that was too big a task for a simple road bike. At the bottom of the cliff, it jumped higher than ever before. The suspension couldn't handle the impact and I was launched into the air. A moment later, I heard a crash and felt an impact, after which came an unpleasant pain. Damn it. An accident where I was flung out like that was a first for me. The launch was really something too. I did a 360 in the air and fell on my back. My breathing stopped for a moment, and the pain was so bad I thought all my bones shattered. My face and limbs seemed pretty fine at least, though I wasn't sure if that counted as a silver lining. There was grass under my hands. There's grass under my hands. I felt it even through the gloves. That and the smell of green made it pretty clear what I landed on. I pushed down and my hands sunk. The grass growth was pretty hefty. It was probably the reason why I came out relatively okay. Sure, my joints creaked when I stood up, but aside from that, I was fine. It was really dark, so I couldn't really confirm it, but I was pretty sure I wasn't even bleeding. My bike, however, wasn't nearly as lucky. Oh boy. It was lying on its side a short distance ahead. The engine was still on, and the back wheel kept on turning, making an unpleasant, fricative noise. Yep, it was busted. I walked up, killed the engine, and took the key. With the headlights off, I was surrounded by absolute darkness, so I just stood and waited until my eyes adjusted. I still couldn't see very clearly, but it looked like this actually wasn't a cliff. I was still on a road. It just wasn't paved beyond this point. Obviously, a road bike stood no chance against an unpaved road. That woman actually tried to kill me. Zigzagging through the trees, I followed the narrow footpath deeper into the forest. I tried getting my bike up and running again, but instantly gave up. It was partially stuck in mud, so there was the risk of it slipping and getting me into another accident. Maybe I had to turn around. The moment I considered that, I thought I saw a faint light ahead. If that woman wasn't lying, this road led to a settlement. Was I close? I reached into my jacket's pocket, took out my phone, and opened it up. As you'd expect, I was out of range. I ran the light app and shone a light to see better. Though weak, it was better than nothing. At the very least, it helped me watch where I was going. I had no idea how long I'd been walking for, but sure enough, I could see a light beyond the shrubs. It was weaker than expected, a flashlight perhaps. I could hear water too. I might have been near a river. Hello? I raised my voice. Hello? Anyone there? Still declaring my presence, I walked forward. It was late at night. Were I to bump into someone here, the scare would probably take away a few years of our lives. That was why I figured it was best for us both to let the other know we were here before that happened. However, there was no response. Could they not hear me over the rapids? Hello? I shone my light ahead and realized I'd made it to an opening. Sure enough, there was a river, or a stream rather. I could see slightly more than I had while surrounded by trees. Straining my eyes, I saw a rocky river beach and the shallows. The light I'd seen was on the other side. From what I could tell, it was either a lantern or a flashlight, and it was close to the ground. I didn't see any people, though. No one responded to my shouting either. I wasn't excited about it, but I decided to step into the water. The cold water quickly soaked my shoes and socks. I could have taken them off, but I figured that crossing a river barefooted at midnight was a bad idea. But man, was it cold. I put my phone back into my jacket. I needed both my hands free in case I fell. Not stopping or backing down, I walked toward the light. It suddenly became deeper. The water reached my knees now. That was too close for comfort. Feeling the bottom with my toes and balancing myself, I somehow avoided losing my footing. The flow was fiercer than I'd expected. If I slipped and fell, I'd probably be washed away. It suddenly hit me. I was doing something really weird, but it was too late to back down. Putting my hands on the boulders and carefully checking what I was stepping on, I gradually made it to the other side. Then, with an unpleasant wet sound in my every step, I walked up to the light. I could already see it clearly. Yep, it was a flashlight lying on the ground for some reason. There wasn't much space here. It was a narrow riverbank with a cliff right beside it. As you'd expect, I didn't see or sense anyone nearby. What the hell? Though old, the flashlight was working fine. The strength of the light told me the battery was pretty full. That meant that someone was actually using this tonight, or rather, until just a few moments ago. That was the most logical conclusion. It obviously wasn't left here yesterday afternoon or evening. And yet the user was nowhere in sight, and I was near a river. Did something bad happen? Did the flashlight's owner step into the stream and get swept away? That was the most likely and worst possible scenario. However, the flashlight was left there practically buried in the pebbles. It didn't seem like someone placed it there to light things up. It was the dead of night. There was no way you wouldn't notice upping your flashlight when it was so dark. Right, the fact that a light source was left in a place like this was strange by itself. But that considered what was going on here. What if someone heard my stupid shouting and decided to lure me in with a light so they could ambush me? I understand his paranoia here. But who knows if that would happen? Where would they attack from? Above? Hello? I heard a voice the moment I looked up. The rock cliff was actually made up of several boulders. There was a face peeking from behind one of them.
こんばんは。
Hello?
あー、人だ。びっくりした。
Wow, a person, you surprised me. That they said in the audio there was probably good evening if I had to guess, because Konnichiwa is good afternoon and Ohio gozaimasu is good morning. It's some of the things I remember. Though the meaning of good afternoon is something that I did kind of learn a bit recently. I knew beforehand, thanks to taking some Japanese classes, that Ohio and Konnichiwa were both used to say hello, but I never really got like when you'd use which until I saw the translation of Konnichiwa being good afternoon. And then it made a lot more sense. Let's see. Wow, person, you surprised me. That was my line.
悪いんだけど、それ取ってもらえます？
Sorry, could you pick that up for me? The voice was feminine. I finally realized what was going on.
どうしたってわけですか？
So you dropped this? I picked up the flashlight and pointed it at the source. The voice. And? No, not and. It was high pitch voice, slender hand showing the light. Sure enough, it was a young woman.
眩しいな。
It's so bright.
失礼。ちなみに、こっちはこういうものですが。
Oh, sorry, this is me, by the way.
怖いです。下から照らさない。
That's creepy. Don't shine it up from below like that. Well, how else is he supposed to show you his appearance? Because we're not yet telling ghost stories, madam.
実は、今日見てもらっており。
I'm actually a bit
と
lost.
すると、割と究極的に迷ってますね。
I think a bit is something of an understatement then. Yeah, I thought as
こ
much.
こって人里です。
Is this a settlement?
難しい質問だな。
That's a difficult
とりあ
question.
えず助けてもらえないかと。
Can you help me out at least?
助ける？
Help?
雨露しのげて、野生動物がいなければ何でもいいんで。
I just need a place to hide from the rain and wild animals, that's all. Standing on a boulder, the young woman made a pensive
じゃあ、
face.
うち来ます
Want to come to my place? And that was the conclusion she'd arrived at. Her face told me she was 100% serious. Place, my place. By that she surely meant a house, a
いい
settlement.
んです頼んどいてなんですが、遠慮を忘れてすがりたい程度には切羽詰まってるんですが。
Can I? I know I asked for help and all that, but I'm actually desperate enough to not hold myself back.
男として
As a man? Lady, why is your mind going there when you say as a man?
いや違う。一個の生命として、数時間迷った挙句、バイクでこけて、心身ともに限界ってわけです。
Yes, I mean, no, as a living being, I spent the last few hours aimlessly driving around only to fall off my bike. I'm dead tired and at my wit's end here.
あらら。なら、見捨てるのもどうよって感じじゃないです一個の生命として。
Oh dear, then what kind of living being would I be if I just abandoned you? And so, I was saved. Oh, the beauty of living beings looking out for each other.
じゃあ手、いいです
Anyway, your hand, please.
ここ、一人じゃ登れないでしょ
You can't climb up on your own, yeah? True, honestly, I didn't even realize I'd have to. Meeting another person filled me with relief, which was followed by a sudden wave of fatigue. It wasn't crippling, though. She extended her left hand, so I grabbed it with my own left. Her slender fingers were stronger than expected. The girl's name was Chami Serizawa. I asked if she was related to the Shinsengumi guy, but she said that her family just adopted the name at some point in the Meiji period. She was a 21-year-old who went to a college far away from here. This was her hometown, and she was spending her post-exams vacation here. We chatted about stuff like that once she'd led me out of the rocky ravine. There was actually a proper path, so the rock climbing was pretty pointless, but I was too focused on my footing to comment. She told me about herself as soon as we reached solid ground.
ちなみにそちらは
And what about you?
名前は房石春明。東京で大学院生やってます。
I am Haruaki Fusaishi, a graduate and student in a Tokyo college.
じゃあちょっと年上
So you're a bit older.
24だから、芹沢さんと3つ違いかな。でもまあ、同世代でしょ。
I'm 24, so 3 years I'd say we're in the same age range.
ちえみでいいですよ敬語とかもいらないです
Yeah, so don't you dare be formal with me.
じゃあ僕も、呼び捨てタメ口がいいな。
Alright, then you can be casual with me too.
ですか
Can I really?
女の子に親しくされてるみたいで、嬉しいからね。
I like it when girls are friendly with me.
なるほど実は私も堅苦しいの苦手なんでじゃあ遠慮なく
Well, I know what you mean. I don't like stiff socializing either. Sure, I'll treat you like a
ど
friend.
うぞどうぞ。ちなみに、まだ結構遠い？
Wouldn't have it any other way. That aside, are we there yet?
そうでもないかなもう5分くらい頑張りましょい
Not quite. We're like 5 minutes away. Hang in there, Chief. What a lively girl. You could tell she was used to
ただ
people.
足元に気をつけて、明かりだけ見て。
Also, watch your step and focus on just the light.
何かあるの？
Any
こ
reason?
の辺、石ころだらけで危ないんだ。
There are loads of pebbles here. It's dangerous. The moment she said that, I stumbled on a rock too big to be called a pebble.
あと、今夜はずいぶん暗いしね。
And it's pretty dark tonight. I couldn't even see the moon anymore. Nodding in agreement, I focused on following the light in her hand.
ちょっと待っててもらえます？着替えちゃうんで。
I gotta change. Wait here a sec. And so I did just that. Given this was a mountain settlement, I'd expected some old wooden house, but she actually lived in an apartment block. It was too dark to get a good look at it. All I could see were the cheap-looking walls like you'd expect from some old boarding house for students. Also, she lived on the second floor, in room 202. I'd heard some raindrops as we were climbing the rusty stairs, but now it was really pouring. Between that, the darkness, and the large tree next to the building, it was nearly impossible to see what was going on outside. It felt like I was all alone in a world of nothing but walls, the door, and the fluorescent lamp above my head. It made me feel somewhat helpless. I distracted myself from that by imagining her changing. Eventually, the door opened
お待た
up.
せ。上がって。
Sorry about the wait. Come in. All smiles, she showed herself now wearing sports clothes. This was kind of exciting.
なんにもないでしょ？
Look at this place. It's completely empty, huh?
何にもないね。
で
Yep.
も冷蔵庫の中は、ほら、
But get a load of what's in the
素晴らし
fridge.
い。
Magnificent. Let's drink.
やったぜ。
Hell yeah. Yeah, her place it really was empty. It was just a small room with a low table in the middle of fridge near the door and a large duffel bag deeper in. There were two old-looking bookshelves too, but they were completely empty. I wasn't bothered one bit, though. Any girl's room was a wonderland to me.
大変だった春明さんに、お疲れ様。
Anyway, you went through some big trouble, so I'll drink to you.
地獄で出会った仏様に乾杯。
And I'll drink to you for helping me out. You're a real saint. We opened our cans, knocked them together, and downed them. Hey, it was actually good. The pleasant and bitterness and the refreshing carbonation made for a good combo.
おいしい。このためだけに生きてる。
Wow, so good. I live for this.
この若さでそれはないでしょう。
Come on, you're too young to say that.
過ぎた。愛や将来にもまだ絶望してません。
Yeah, you're right. I'm not despairing for my future love life. If yet.
ところが、就活という影が迫る。
You hear that? That's the sound of job hunting. It's a coming here fast.
いややめて。せっかくのビールがまずくなる。
No, don't say that. You'll ruin my beer. She laughed and took a huge sip. It was pretty clear she could hold her drink. That aside, something really bothered me. In this kind of situation, I'd probably be uncomfortable just because she's drinking like that. He said that she could hold her liquor or alcohol just fine, but really, you don't know what will happen if people drink too much to get a buzz or whatever. They could be dangerous or otherwise awkward, just that kind of thing, and that's why I don't want to be around it.
お誘いに乗っておいてなんだけど、
It's not the fact that she's a girl and they're alone that makes it awkward, it's just the drinking and the possibilities they have to keep in mind about what would happen. This might be a bit late for this, but can I ask you something?
何？
Go ahead. Her cheeks were already red. Maybe she didn't handle her liquor as well as I thought. She had a well-featured face, and I didn't think it was wrong to consider her beautiful. Sure, her clothes weren't the least bit sexy, but I could tell she had some makeup on.
僕は完全に正体不明の自称迷い人だよね。
To you, I'm just some stranger who says he's lost, right?
そうね。
Yeah.
君は年頃の女性。今は深夜。ワンルームの密室で男と二人っきり。その上アルコールまで入ってしまった。
And you yourself are a young woman who invited that stranger into a closed space and started getting drunk.
おー。
Oh.
身の危険を感じたりとかは？
Don't you think this is dangerous? Well, in a way, he's got a point, but it really depends on the circumstances here. Like, I would probably be the one in the dangerous situation if it were here because there's just a lot more to keep track of for me in these kind of situations. Because what people don't realize a lot is, well, people with disabilities can be dangerous to, can be a danger to others. It's generally more so that the others are more of a danger to them because the disabled are ones that know that they need help and such, and so it's not going to be likely that they're going to do anything unless it truly benefits them or whatever. So they just lose a lot more if you go based off of general statistics between men and women and what happens, other than the fact that you've got a lot of assumptions about men being the aggressive ones, while women technically aren't. There's can be truth to that, but it's all just rather complicated.
うーん。
She kept gulping the drink even as she formulated a response. The very fact that I could just watch her do that made this a pretty risky situation, and yet
あんまりないかな。
I wouldn't say so,
それは、
but
芹沢千恵美クイズ。
time for a Jamie's Arizawa quiz. The cliched quiz time of old.
イエーイ！
Yay.
問題。ふと気づいたら低層が瀬戸際。にもかかわらず、芹沢千恵美は特に身の危険を感じない。なぜでしょう？
Here's the question. My virginity is threatened, yet I don't feel like I'm in danger. Why? I don't know. Probably because he's a kind individual and hasn't done anything yet, but who knows? It's just a funny question that she's asking here, though. What a fun girl. This only made me like her more, increasing the danger even
質
further.
問 OK？
Am I allowed to ask questions? Sure.
僕のことがいい人っぽいという答えはなしでいいかな？
Can I just assume that it's not because I look like a good guy?
悪い人に見えるってわけじゃないけど、まあなしかな。女の子慣れしてそうだし。
Well, I don't think you look like a bad guy. But no, I doubt you're good either. You look experienced with women, and for one. Oh my gosh. They're definitely talking this up. But if I had to say a lot of the time, it goes back into like what the stats say and such, and any kind of crime, the stats usually say that the perpetrator is someone the victim knows, and they just met. Like, yes, you can have crimes committed by strangers. There's an absolute chance of that happening, but the overall chance of it happening is rather low compared to people that you know, because people that you know your weaknesses and such. And how can she say that he's experienced with women? Other than the fact that he was the one that brought this up being a risky situation and such. That unintentional compliment showed that she actually did see me as a potential
考
danger.
えられる回答は大きく2つ。想定外だが何が起きても問題ない。もしくは想定通り。
There are two types of answers to this. Either you expect nothing bad to happen but wouldn't be bothered if it did, or you actually want something to happen. Well, I would also make the third one in that she just doesn't expect anything bad to happen onto that. Because that's also a possibility. Because you've got they expect nothing but wouldn't be bothered. Expect nothing, and then that she wants something to happen. Those are all the possibilities, at least that I can think of. Those aren't 100% exhaustive of all the possibilities, though.
前者はいろいろ考えられるかな。例えば、ちえみちゃんが何かやけっぱちになっていて、どうにでもなれって場合。
I can think of several situations for the former. For example, you're actually on edge and don't care about what
ある
happens.
いは十分な自衛手段がある。実は護身術の達人で僕なんか軽く乗せるとかね。
Or maybe you're just confident you can defend yourself. Maybe you know martial arts and can easily kick my ass. That's a big one in Detective Conan. A lot of the female characters know martial arts in Detective Conan. Like, it's not just the female characters, because you got some male characters that know various other martial arts like JKD and Kendo and that, but it's just a common thing in anime for girls to know martial arts.
おー、論理的。春明さん理系だね。
Whoa, so logical. Let me guess, you're a scientist? Why would you think that he's a scientist? But he's good at thinking, I'll give him that.
まあそうかな。一方で後者、つまりこの状況が君の想定通りって場合は。
Well, I guess you could say that. Now, for the latter, if you intend for something to happen, then
例えば、私がエロエロですとか
I'm a thirsty perv or something. Wow, talk about not mincing words.
酔っ払っ ってきたよ。
Ah ha ha ha
他
ha.
には何があるでしょう。
Ah ha 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 ha. I blame the booze, so what else is there? Indeed, what other reason could a woman have to bring a stranger to her home? It would surely be something non-standard,
僕
like,
の存在が君の利益になる例。
you want to use me somehow.
例えばアリバイ工作。君がここにいると後日僕が証言することで君が有利になる。
For example, setting me up as an alibi. I could be useful to you by attesting that you were here. Oh my gosh! That's just so funny here. Like, yes, it could very much be possible, but that's like a common thing that happens in crime fiction works. And yeah, it could happen in real life too, but it's just so common in in the genre. So I'm like, this guy's genre heavy. No, not heavy. Genre savvy.
おー、ちゃっかり利用するわけだ。
Whoa, that's so shrewd.
あるいはちえみちゃんが恐るべき殺人鬼で僕を酔っ払わせてぶっ殺す。
Or maybe you're a serial killer who brought me here just to get me drunk and kill me. Oh my gosh. And you say that right to her face. Yet another common thing. So common situations. It's so funny.
はあ、ヤマンバ。いいね。ブッシュブッシュ殺しちゃう。
Whoa, I'm some kind of evil mountain witch now? Sounds great. I'll kill you real good. Sploosh. Sploosh. What kind of sound effect was
ちな
that?
みに、前提で出た2つのケースの他に1つあるよ。
By the way, you forgot another
あ
case.
れ抜けてた？
I did.
うん。私がとってもいい人で、春明さんを助けてあげたい一心だっていうケース。
Yep, I could be just a really good person who simply wants to help you. She's got a point right there, and it's most likely the logical thing and goes about. Oh, it's how I said most of the time when crimes happen to people, it's mostly a person that they know. It's very rare for it to be a stranger. Was it time for me to be ashamed of my filthy mind? Yes. Yes, it's time for you to be ashamed of your filthy mind.
いやでもそれで自分が襲われるかもって考えたら
But wait, is that really important enough to be to risk being assaulted? Again, it's possible, but strangers are the lowest risk. It's not no risk at all, but it's the lowest risk.
わあ、襲うって言っちゃったよ、この人。
Oh, so you're thinking of assaulting me? Oh man, she's playing him.
あ一般論ね。
I'm just talking in general, you know, the cliche scenario. Even he's bringing up how cliche these are all sounding. And I'm liking it. She stopped talking and turned red. It was so cute, I thought she was actually doing it on purpose. Man, was she drunk? And we were just on our second cans.
めないともっとひどいことになる。それはさすがに忍びないな、とか。
Then how about this? If I don't let you stay here, something even worse would happen and I'd feel real bad. Wait. Something even worse would happen? This is kind of telling right here. Like, I know a would is not a definite, because what I deal with a lot, like, not professionally, but what I deal with in life and like that a lot is that I deal with a lot of situations, regardless of whether it's computers or anything else, that's ends up creating should, would, could environments. And that means that there's a possibility of them happening and a possibility of not, or just occurring or helping. And so I just have to check them out, but still, Wood seems to suggest to me that she knows that something's going to happen real soon. That's just how it is in my mind. So, it's like, are you really a good person? If you say would happen, or what's going on? Or it also has me going, what's going on here? What kind of legends do you guys have?
ごめん。もうちょっと詳しく。
Care to elaborate?
この辺りには怖い野生動物が出ます。明日にはこの人はズタズタに引き裂かれてしまうかもしれません。
There's some scary wild animals around here. You might have gotten torn up and eaten. Well, that's very well possible, but I don't think that would warrant a would. It's more of a could that I would have wanted to put in there instead of a would, even though technically what I deal with, like I said, just puts would on the same level as possibility.
このまま見捨てたらとても寝覚めの悪い思いをするかもしれません。それならまあ止めてあげようかしら。
That have left a bad taste in my mouth, so I figured I'd just let you stay instead.
なるほど。リスクと善意を天秤にかけるってわけか。これは想定外。
I see, so you're balancing risk and goodwill. Didn't expect that. And that's what a lot of times what exchanges between people is all about. Balancing risk and goodwill. And you've also got to take in mind the risks that you cannot take because they're just too much. But otherwise, yes, everything in life when dealing with people is a balance between risk and goodwill. We know nothing for certain.
想定外か。この人だいぶ悪い人なんじゃないかって気がしてきたな。
Really now, you got an idea how much of a bad guy you seem now?
そう？
I do.
だって善意を選択肢に入れる前に殺人鬼とかアリバイとかエロエロとかさ。
I mean, you assumed I was a thirsty perv, a serial killer, or needed an alibi before considering and I was just a nice person. Well, you're not wrong there, Serizawa, but still, it's just a good idea to think of those possibilities. Just don't jump to any of those conclusions. If anything, you're best off assuming that they're a nice person, but keeping in possibility of those things. until you're given reason to believe any of those things.
ヘロエロは君が言い出したんでしょうが。
You're the one who brought up the perv
そう
thing.
だったっけ？で、答えは？
Details, details, so what's the right answer?
これって単なるバカ話じゃないの？
Oh, we're not just messing
正
around.
解者には素敵なプレゼント。不正解者はブッシュブッシュ殺します。
Get it right, and I'm giving you a nice present. Get it wrong, and you're dead. Sploosh, sploosh. Seriously? Let's see. I don't think you're desperate. We don't know anything about you, so I'm not too sure about the alibi. Thirsty perv sounds a bit wrong, like, because she didn't go that direction immediately, except for the as a man part. He was the one that kind of went that way. And then you to let me feel guilt. You'd feel guilty if you let me die. Well, she did say that, but we don't know anything about what's going to go on. These two I kind of want to rule out. And this one I also want to rule out. That you're desperate. But I can't do the one that I feel like doing, so let's just say that she'll feel guilty. Because that sounds the most correct out of all of them that I have available to choose from. So let's go ahead and do that.
ピンポーン、正解です。
Ding, 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 you're right. Oh, cool.
まあ実際この辺危ないしね。鹿にイノシシに野犬にクマ。
Well, I wasn't joking when I said this area is dangerous. There's deer, boars, wild dogs, and bears.
鹿とイノシシは実際見たけど、クマもいるの？
I actually saw deer and boars myself, but bears?
ツキノワだけどね。あんまり多くはないけど、昔襲われた人もいたし、ちょっと外は危ない。
Yep, moon bears, though. They aren't big, but they do attack. It's pretty dangerous out
で
there.
ワイルドな。
That's just wild.
本当にヤバい動物は他にいるけどね。
But there's something even worse.
なんだろう。クマよりヤバい動物？
What? Worse than bears?
猿、カラス、クモ。
Snakes, monkeys, crows, spiders. They were venomous or something? I really doubted that. Those really didn't seem worse than bears.
あと、狼。
Also
日
wolves.
本には狼はいないでしょう。
There aren't any wolves in Japan.
こんな田舎には。
Yeah, there are. You're in the sticks, you know. She smiled and drank out of the third can.
まあ、理由がどうあれ、まんまと美女宅に侵入を果たした春明さんは、自分が狼になっちゃうのかな？
Speaking of wolves, whatever the reason you ended up coming into a pretty girl's home, won't you become a wolf yourself? Oh my gosh. She's bringing this up too?
やめとく。
Nope.
紳士、もう一本あげちゃう。
What a gentleman. Have another one. I wasn't too sure, but I felt like she'd dodged the subject. Perhaps I wasn't being cautious enough. But then again, I'd been wandering aimlessly for a long time by now. I had enough recklessness in me to enjoy sharing a drink with a cute, if shady girl. 5:12 Monday. Last thing I remembered was our little "when was the last time you pissed yourself while sleeping" talk. I had to tell her about the time I got so drunk I wet my pants in the middle of the boarding house. She laughed so hard she started frothing at the mouth and passed out. I woke up with a splitting headache. Oh man. Morning already? Light poured in through the frosted window. I pulled out my phone and checked the time, 7 in the morning. I'd gone to sleep somewhere between 2 and 3, which probably wasn't quite enough sleep. At least I didn't wake up to some horror movie scene. The building wasn't in ruins and the girl wasn't actually a skeleton. Oh, in a way, this might have been worse. Ugh. She was spread out on the floor on the other side of a mini table. Her breathing was mixed with some weird gurgling sounds. I hesitantly looked at her. The saint that saved me from the hell I was in last night had puked in the middle of her sleep. What was I supposed to do here? As a guest, I couldn't really be too harsh on her. Jamie-chan. Phew. She wasn't waking up. Well, I just do what little I could. There, that should be good enough. I'd used tons of toilet paper to clean up her mess and flush it down the toilet. It left a stain on the floor, but it was dirty to begin with, so whatever. I'd even wet a towel and cleaned her face. Even then, she showed no signs of waking up. Some of it was on her hair and clothes, but I figured it was best if she took care of that herself. Jamie-chan.
Asa?
In the morning, the first hint of consciousness so far today. I'll be leaving for a bit. Without waiting for a response, I walked to the entrance. She'd have to take a shower and change and all that, so I'd kill time outside. I stepped into my still damp shoes with my bare feet. My socks were in the washing machine with the towel she gave me to wipe my legs, and reached for the doorknob. I opened the door and was greeted by a gust of wind. The raindrops gathered on the leaves of the tree next to the building. The raindrops gathered on the leaves of the tree next to the building flew right into my face, making me grimace. The rain from last night was already over. The sky was pretty clear, but despite that, I noticed the visibility of my surroundings was poor. The building was surrounded by leaves. The old structure was basically buried in a forest of trees about as tall as itself. There were branches poking into the exposed hallway. It almost felt like they'd reach out and grab me if I wasn't careful. I kind of felt like I was in an overgrown ruin. I turned around and saw the room and Jamie, just as I left them. Yep, it was all real. I closed the door. There were other rooms in this building, which made me wonder if they were occupied. Hell, I wondered the same thing about the area in general. I pushed the branches aside to see if there are other buildings nearby. Suddenly, something entered my vision. It didn't feel right. Something that shouldn't have been there. Well, it is kind of strange, but someone might have dropped it. The leaves I moved revealed a woman clad in curious clothing. The moment I recognized her as such, she opened her closed eyes. Well, that is kind of strange. So let's see what's going on here. Their eyes meet. Another strong wind. I shielded my face from the spray of raindrops. When I looked outside again, the woman was nowhere in sight. Was that an illusion? If not, then what? What kind of place was this? It could have been a real Hicksville, a marginal village, a bunch of actual ruins, or an illegal settlement. I had some theories, but I set them aside for now. It seemed like a place worth exploring regardless. I went down the stairs and found no sign of the woman or anyone else for that matter. A short distance away from the building, I turned around, and sure enough, it was pretty much covered in trees. I went to the place where I saw the woman. There were footprints in the grass here. Maybe I'd find her if I followed them. They led me to an open area. It was unused, but it looked like someone was trying to do something with it. Was it supposed to be a construction site? Even if it was clearly abandoned. There were large rocks and lots of sediment near a prefab. From what I could tell, there had been a giant landslide which forced them to stop construction. The fact that plant growth was still minimal meant that it happened fairly recently. The footprints seemed to be going down the hill next to the site. Following them, I finally saw something that could be called civilization. There was a set of paddy fields with houses nearby. So this was actually a settlement. What a relief. I decided to keep following the footprints and approach the settlement. I came across another unpaved path that was clearly used by people in cars. It was lined with weeds and bushes reaching up to my waist. It was home to caterpillars and grasshoppers, among other things. Spiders were no exception. There was no shortage of insects there, so it was a good place for a net. I wasn't particularly scared of spiders, but I didn't like them either. At least they were just harmless orb weavers. Regardless, I avoided these bushes just in case and followed the path like the good city boy I was. There was a large boulder surrounded by grass. It was strangely tall, making it look like it was put there by people. On its dewy surface, there was a gray tree frog ready to go after the many insects scattered about. I walked a bit further and came across a house with a small field nearby. The field's location made it safe to assume it belonged to the inhabitants. If there were inhabitants anyway, I couldn't see anyone, and just like always, there was grass everywhere. There was another boulder standing next to the house. This one was obviously placed there by human hand. What was the point? Was it a monument or something? The footprints continued into the field. The wet mud on the field was full of small, young, but healthy-looking rice plants. If you ignored the standing boulders in the area, the place looked like a normal farming village. I was both relieved and worried at the same time. From what I saw, there weren't any other buildings besides the ones in the settlement. Everything beyond was just mountains, meaning that this place was completely isolated. And I was a complete outsider. There was no way things would go well if I ran into a random local. I belatedly crouched to hide myself a bit. It was probably best for me to go back. Jamie might have been looking for me. Suddenly, I heard a sound. Alright, guys. I feel like I need a break for the bathroom and to get a drink. So I will be right back. If you guys haven't had the chance to answer today's question of the day, feel free to do so. If you don't see it, the command in the title of the stream while I'm live should bring it up for you, and I will check it when I get back. And with that, I will be right back. Alright, I'm back. Let me check on chat here to make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay. There. And nothing there. Alright. Now we can get back to this. Okay. I heard a sound. I looked for its source and found a speaker on a wooden utility pole in the middle of a small plaza. A morning broadcast. I never heard this tune before. It was cheerful at first, but had some parts that seemed really dark. I found it unsettling. Perplexed, I stopped walking, and what happened next made me hide myself. There was a person in the area, densely surrounded by houses, but they weren't normal. What was with that appearance? What was that on her face? Though I was a fair distance away, I could see an old woman with some sort of cloth over her face shakily walk out from between the buildings. Oddly enough, there were boulders even there. But even weirder was the fact she walked up to one of them lightly, joined her hands, and bowed her head before it, her face still hidden. Then all was silent. It actually looked like she was revering it. I want to say that's a bit hard for me to say. To me, it looked like she was praying to it. This was bad, really bad. I wandered into a settlement with a unique culture, to put it lightly. Forget causing trouble, an outsider like me could get killed here. I just turned around and ran for it. I dashed up the hill, past the house, through the construction site, until I arrived back at the apartment building. Jamie looked like a relatively reasonable person. Maybe she could tell me what was up. It just hit me that the way she described this place was somewhat weird. She basically said it wasn't normal.
あるいは、ちえみちゃんが恐るべき殺人鬼で、僕を酔っ払わせてぶっ殺す。
Or maybe you're a serial killer who brought me here just to get me drunk and kill me.
はあ、ヤマンバ。いいね。ブッシュブッシュ殺しちゃう。
Whoa, so I'm an evil mountain witch now? Sounds great. I'll kill you real good. Sploosh, sploosh. No way. What if she was actually the bait they used to lure outsiders here? Eventually, the broadcast stopped. Jamie still hadn't come out of her room. She didn't respond even when I knocked or called out to her. I didn't have to worry about this, right? That just made my inexplicable unease grow worse. What if this was a trap? Was I in a dangerous situation? I had to talk to her. If she was a normal person anyway. Maybe my best option was to run away right now. I wouldn't know where to run. I couldn't remember the path we'd taken here. Though I was pretty sure we'd went uphill, so maybe I had to go down. If I avoided the settlement and went back to the mountain stream, I could escape by following the wild roads. That was my best option, even with the difficulties considered. Thankfully, I'd taken my bag with me. I took out a 5,000 yen note and put it in Jamie's newspaper box. It was a payment for last night's beer. The moment I turned around to take my leave, the door to the room next to the staircase opened slightly with a creak. I saw an eye glaring at me through the gap. So they scared each other. Please be that. Her high-pitched scream pierced my eardrums. I screamed too, scared shitless, and ran for it. Suddenly I stepped onto the wet hallway floor at a bad angle. I fell. Thud, thud, thud.
どうした？
Aru-chan, what's wrong?
ああ、誰このおっちゃん。
Whoa, who's this old guy?
あなた、誰ですか？
Who are you?
大丈夫ですか？
Who are you? And are you alright? A reasonable sounding voice prompted me to shake off the pain and raise my head. There were two boys in formal-looking school uniforms. Wait, two boys? I wonder if this is a dormitory because one of them did sound like a girl. So, who knows?
大丈夫ですか？
Are you alright? He repeated the question.
ああ、ちょっと驚いただけで。
Yeah, I was just startled.
ちえねえの友達？
You friends with Chiene? We just met, so I can't say we're friends, kid.
あ
Chiene?
あ、ちえみちゃんのことか。
Oh, you mean
大
Chamie-chan?
学のお知り合いですか？お知り合いが来るなんて聞いてなかった。
Are you a friend of hers from college? She didn't tell us anyone was visiting.
いや、いろいろあって助けられたんだ。怪しいものじゃないんだ。怪しく見えるだろうけど。
Oh, I just got into some trouble and she helped me out. There's nothing shady about me, though I know that's hard to
怪し
believe.
いな、おっちゃん。
It really is, old man.
どうすればいいのかな。とりあえず、名前は夫妻氏春明と言います。
Oh man, how do I handle this? Anyway, my name's Haruaki Fusaishi.
僕は織部安永です。こっちは鴨志田近持。
I'm Yasunaga Orobe. This is Chikamochi Kamashida.
モッチーだ。
Just Mochi is fine. Good to know if I called him that, he'd stop calling me old man. I was only
それでこ
24.
っちが。はるちゃん何してんの？
And this is Haru-chan. What are oh, and this is Haru-chan. What are you doing?
だって知らない人が。
Well, we don't know him. Apparently, this Haru-chan was the person who looked at me through the gap in the door and
とりあえず
screamed.
大丈夫そうだから出ておいでよ。
He seems safe. Come out. A moment later, she slammed the door shut, and after a few more moments of hesitation, opened it again. Ah, so that's who I was hearing. Okay. Whoa. She looked like a student too, except her fashion sense was exceptionally
あな
flashy.
た、誰ですか？
Who are you?
夫妻氏春明と言って、この近くでバイクで事故って、芹沢千恵美さんに助けられたんだ。
Name's Haruaki Fusaishi. I crashed my motorbike nearby and Shamie Serizawa-san helped me out.
それって、もしかして、昨日の夜、ちえねえの部屋に。
Wait, are you saying you spent the night in her room? I wonder what she's going to think here.
止めてもらった。
Yeah, I did. She cut my words short with her ear-piercing shriek. So she thought of it that way, huh? It makes sense for her to think that way, but when you think about it logically, it's not really 100%, it's just a chance. Just think of it like this. At least when I got it put in to it, I got it explained to in a manga that I read called, I want to say CMB, but essentially it's if you put a snake in a person's bed, there's a 50% chance that they would bite that person. However, if you stretch that out over to longer than a night, like some other period, the chances of getting bitten by that snake goes up to near 100%, but not right there, so it would be a practical guarantee that you'd be bitten by that snake. But it's not 100% because each of those nights that the snake's in the bed, it's a 50% chance. And this is just one particular night, so she doesn't know what's going on. But it's not outside the realm for her to be imagining what she's imagining, even though we know that's not what happened.
通りで騒がしかったと思った。何考えてるの？嫁入り前の女性の家に不潔。
So that's why it was so noisy. Well, what were you thinking? You're not supposed to enter an unmarried girl's room. It's indecent. Yep. And I wouldn't really put that to pass, or like, yes, cultural norms might be like that, but come on. The situation is what creates exceptions, and you don't know what the situation is.
ああ、うん。それはその通りで、僕もちょっと躊躇はしたんだけど、ちえみちゃんが親切で。
Yeah, I was hesitant too, but Chan was kind enough to let me in.
ちえみちゃん？あれなれしい。それじゃあもしかしてちえ姉が出てこないのって。
Why are you acting like you've known her your whole life? Well, wait, she's not getting out. Don't tell me you. Seriously. What is wrong with you? Like, it makes sense that she's going through making these assumptions, but come on.
ドアに5000円挟んであるぞ。
There's a 5,000 yen note in the door. Ear-shattering scream. What the? Now they're making it worse.
夫妻さん、まさか。
Don't tell me you.
違う。単に昨日お酒をおごられたから、そのお返しで。
No. She just gave me lots of booze. I'm paying back for that.
ちえ姉の体が5000円ってそんな安いわけないでしょ。
Cheney's body is worth way more than that. What's up? What's going on? He just said that he was paying back for the beer.
ただれてるな。
How dissolute. The hell were these kids saying?
ああ、君、助けてくれないか？
Hey, can you help me out?
初対面で女性の部屋でお酒を飲んだんですか？
You
ちえ姉が出てこない。
You drank with a girl you just met and she's not coming out? Oh my gosh. Where are they going with this? Like, sure, we don't know everything that happened that night, but come on. Crap, I had no allies here.
一体何事？
What's going on? Speak of the devil, she arrives. And so the subject of the conversation joined in.
おお、ちえみちゃん、君からも事情を説明。
Oh, Jamie-chan, can you tell them what happened last night? Something was off about her aura. What happened to the lively girl she'd been yesterday? She could just be a night owl, too.
ちえ姉、まさか。
Cheney, did you...
恥ずかしいとこを見られちゃった。
Man, this is embarrassing.
おお。
Whoa.
いや、ちょっと待って、ちょっと。
Wait, hold on, stop.
もう嫁いけない。
I can't be a bride anymore. Oh my gosh. She's playing along with them. Ear piercing shriek. Man, what a mess. Though Jamie's face is all pale, she was actually grinning. She obviously had a bad hangover, but that didn't stop her from messing around. After calming everyone down, Jamie explained what actually happened. How we met in the middle of the night. How she let me stay out of goodwill. How we drank ourselves silly and how nothing happened between us.
いやー、久々に深酒しちゃって思いっきり吐いちゃったよ。春明さん、お見苦しいとこ申し訳ない。
Man, it's been so long since I drank that much. Guess I wasn't prepared for it and puked it out. Sorry you had to see that. Haruaki-san.
あいやそれはいいんだけど
Hey, I don't mind it. That Haru-chan girl still looked at me funny.
非常識
Absurd.
うん申し訳ない昨日は本当に疲労困憊でねつい行為に甘えてしまったんだ
Anyway, sorry I was so tired yesterday that I couldn't refuse her
まあ
kindness.
知恵ねえだしな雑把だよな
Well, this is Chiene we're talking about. She does whatever she
事
wants.
情も事情だし年寄りたちも納得するかな
He's got good reasons for being here too, so maybe the elders will
ちなみ
understand.
に会ったのってどこです
Where did you find him anyway?
それはね、
Well,
下の方の河原だよ
next to the river further down. My words made everyone change their expressions.
それはちょっと
That's a bit.
大騒ぎだ
That's a big deal.
2日連続で2人もだなんて
Two people over just 2 days? That has me wondering what's going on. 2 days? So this happened the night before he fell down in there? That's kind of crazy.
もしかしてまずいこと言った
Did I say something bad? No, you didn't. They just insinuated that something happened. What that something was, I don't know.
はあ、まあいずれバレることよ。さっきあれだけ大騒ぎしちゃったから休みず中に知れちゃったろうし。
Sigh, it was gonna get out sooner or later. We made quite a scene, so I wouldn't be surprised if everyone in Yasumizu already knows.
2日連続で2人もって何のこと
Hey, what did you mean by 2 people over just 2 days? That's what I'm curious about. Because what they said just now about that makes it seem like something had happened the night before he stumbled upon them.
触らないで汚い
Don't touch me, you're filthy. I wasn't trying to touch her and I wasn't filthy. Sure, I hadn't had a bath in over a day, but still.
君何が騒ぎになるの
Hey you, why is it a big deal?
タエバあたりが拒否ってなる
Taiba's gonna go E. Well, that sure sounded
詳
bad.
しい話を聞かせてくれない
Can you tell me more?
ちょっと説明は難しいんですけどまあここは田舎なんで町といろいろ違うってことですよ
It's a bit complicated. For now, just keep in mind that this is the countryside. Things are different here than in the city. Of course they're different. This guy here was Orabe-kun. Ignore Jamie. Jamie and he was the easiest person to talk
どう
to.
すればいいかな
What should I do?
まあちえみがなんとかしましょう。学生諸君はとりあえずご飯行かないと。
Just leave it to me, alright? And it's time for students to eat, isn't it?
この混乱には乗るっきゃない
Oh, but I want to see where this mess goes.
乗るっきゃなくないもっち。とりあえず行っちゃいな。私らちょっと遅れていくから。
No, you don't. Just go already. We'll catch up.
まあちょっと時間ずらした方がいいよね揉めそうだし
Well, I guess it's best to go separately. There's probably gonna be some
さすが
disagreements.
ヤスくん、察しがいいぞ。ごめんけど、二人のお守りよろしくね。
Yeah, I knew you'd understand. Yasukun, take care of them for me, alright? Sure.
もう知恵ね。子供扱いはやめてよ。
Stop treating me like a
そう
child.
だ、うんこしてやるぞ。
Yeah, I swear I'll poop on you.
ほらほら行くぞモッチーにハルちゃん
Let's just get going, you two. And so the students walked off toward the stairs. It was kind of easy to tell what sort of relationship they had.
彼
Anyway,
らがこの建物の他の住人？
so they live in this building
そういう
too?
こと。学生寮だからね、ここ。
Yep, it's a student dorm, you know. Student dorm? In this Hicksville? Still, my senses had betrayed me. There actually were other people
ちな
here.
みに春明さん、他の人と出会ってトラブったりしてないよね。
By the way, you didn't run into anyone else and get in trouble, right?
一応それ警戒してたから。
Yeah, I was careful on that
ならよ
front.
かった。よし、ちょっとしたら食堂に行きましょう。
Good, let's get ready to go to the dining hall.
朝食？
Oh, for breakfast?
なあ、朝食は今から食べてください。食堂へは一応面通しをしに行くの。
Nope, eat your breakfast now. We'll go to the dining hall to introduce you.
誰と？
To
よ
who?
そ者が皿長からやってきたってことに文句を言いそうな人たち。
To whoever has a problem with an outsider coming from Sarnaga. Wait, Sarnaga? Oh, so like that Teba person, huh?
お世話になります。
I'm in your hands then.
その代わり、朝のことは秘密で。
It's fine if you're that grateful. Keep what happened this morning a secret.
そりゃあもちろん。ところで、サラナガって何？あの河原？
Sure thing. What's Sarnaga anyway? That river?
そう、皿長の瀬っていう川だけど、あの辺まとめて皿長って呼ぶの。ちょっと曰くのある場所でね。
Yep, that river's called Sarnaga Rapids, but the area around it is called Sarnaga. The place has some cultural significance. It does.
あの川は汚れていて、死人が帰ってくるみたいな伝説がね。
Yep, they say it's a corrupt place where the dead return from the other side. Oh. So that's why they'd reacted like
他
that.
にもその手のルールというか、しきたりみたいなのが？
Any other rules or customs I should be aware
た
of?
くさんあります。なので基本、ちえみちゃんにお任せを。
Oh, there's lots, so just leave everything to me, alright? Gladly on all
ちなみ
fronts.
に、身の危険とかは？
If I may ask, am I in danger?
ないない。でも、いろいろ不愉快な思いをする前に、早く出て行けた方がいいかも。
Hello there, Sadie, I think it said, but let me check on that. Got two places to check. Ah, Sadie's. And hey there, Sabies, how you doing? And have you checked out today's question of the day? I'm doing good myself. We're just in the middle of the beginning of this VN where we're just learning a bit about the basics of the culture, the setting that we're in, so that we can piece together anything that comes up. Let's see. Back to here, though. No, but you should try to escape before something unpleasant happens to
そ
you.
のための根回しに行くと。
And you're gonna lay the groundwork for that, huh?
そうそう。
Yep. The settlement I'd stayed 2 was a weird place, but at least the guide was reliable. And she wanted me to leave ASAP, huh? That was depressing. I think it's about normal. This room here has a bit of an echo. The echo used to be a lot worse, but now it's a bit better, and you can attribute it down to just probably room stuff that it's in. So it is a bit normal. Let's see. Jamie gave me some cup ramen for breakfast. She boiled the water in a small electric kettle. But thanks for asking about that. The girl herself was too hungover to eat anything. I did take the opportunity to pay her back for last night's drink in person, though. And did you check out today's question of the day, Savies? If you don't see it, the command in the title should bring it up for you. At least if you want to check it out. Then we made our way to the dining hall.
この岩って何なの？
What are these boulders?
一応お守りみたいなもの？昔からあるよ。
And what's your response to that question, Savies? Mine was that people should learn to think more. They're like charms, I guess. They've been here forever.
よそでは見たことないよ。
I've never seen anything like them anywhere else.
言われたらそうかも。
Oh yeah, I guess they're kinda unique to this area. She led me along a narrower path than I'd followed earlier. It didn't seem like any cars used this one. It was very farmy, I guess. This area was also littered with those boulders. Some were cracked, broken, or half buried in the fields. They were clearly religious symbols, but it didn't look like they were that important these days, or were they? Now that I knew I was safe, I once again became curious about this place.
人だ。
Oh, there's a person. That's fine, just take your time. Let's see, he was working on the field. That's Takumi Ni-chan. Morning. Jamie waved her hand. The man responded, but then froze mid-wave. Let's go.
多分あの人、僕の存在に驚いたんじゃ。
Are you sure we should? The guy looked pretty surprised to
大
me.
丈夫。どうせ後で食堂に来るから、説明はその時にするってことで。
Don't worry, he'll be at the dining hall soon. We'll explain things then. Well, if she said so. As an outsider, I had no choice but to rely on her. this is the part of the village I saw this morning, where the buildings are more densely packed. Yeah, I can see how that would be an important skill to learn, but of course, it's not also not just like that they don't do it well or something like that. Let me make sure I'm getting what you're saying completely here. Because I did catch some of it. Yeah. So, yeah, people do have troubles at it, and they do start eating out regularly, like you mentioned. The problem is sometimes that trouble is more so a risk scaling too. Like, for example, me with my arm here, if I were to try to cook something, say like soups or anything where there's boiling liquid or whatever, burns become a big problem, because in cooking, you cannot control where you get burned. You will get burned. And so people in my situation, if we get burned in a particularly bad spot that we can't handle, we have to get other people to help us in that way. And so people like me avoid cooking, at least in particular means, to avoid situations like that. Not because we don't want help. We do want our freedom and such, and we do know that we need help from time to time, but we just don't want to deal with that kind of risk. And so we deal with things like eating frozen meals or eating out. So it's kind of a little complicated of a situation, but I do agree that cooking can be an important skill for anybody to learn. It's just more so you have to be like, can I afford to take the risks that can possibly come up, kind of thing. But yeah, it's not a bad answer that you gave. I didn't notice it back then, but it was actually kind of weird. Basically, it felt desolate. The wooden bungalows in particular were more or less overgrown, buried in tall grass and other greenery. If this was all I saw of the village and someone told me it was abandoned, I'd have easily believed them. However, two of the buildings stood out. There was a hall right beyond the hill. It wasn't that big, but it looked grand and well maintained. The other building was obviously the dining hall. It looked a bit dirty, but I could tell there were people inside from what I could tell. It was the most lively place in this poor excuse of a community. Suddenly, the three students walked out, chatting about something.
知恵ねと夫妻さん
Chiene and Fusaishi-san.
再度おはよう。ちょっと遅くない？
Morning again, aren't you late?
モッチーがバカなことばっか言って遅くなっちゃったんだもん。
We took forever because Mochi doesn't stop saying nonsense.
僕が悪だ。味噌汁をよこせ。
Yes, I am evil. Give me miso soup.
間に合うしなら間に合うでしょ。みんなしっかり勉強しといで。
Oh, you'll make it if you hurry. Behave in class, you guys. Half dashing, the three ran up the path we
み
came
んな
from.
高校生なんだ。
They're all in high school, huh?
山をぐーっと登ったところに銀行があるんだ。私も3年前まで通ってたな。
Yep, there's a branch school all the way up the mountain. Yep. Classic indeed. Yep, there's a branch school all the way up the mountain. I was going there myself 3 years ago.
不便だね。
Sounds like a
それで
hassle.
もみんなあの寮に住める分優遇されてるんだけど。
It's not all bad. At least we get to live in that dorm. Shamey was entirely straight-faced. There wasn't even a hint of a smile.
さあ気合を入れて入りましょう。
Alright, let's get psyched.
そうしましょう。
Not too much. It's my first time playing it, but I do know that, like, there's a werewolf game or a setup kind of involved here. And I did a bit of the, like, read-throughs that they apparently force you to do the first time you start up this game. Like, not all of them, but important things like special features and then the about. And I do know that there's like a mystery involved in some horror aspects, and I'm not surprised about that because, again, the gist of it that I got when I first heard of this game was that it was like a more real life werewolf game with high stakes is what I got the impression of. But have you played this game? Let's see. Now, back to this. Yeah.
気合入んない。
I'm not convinced. We laughed a little and passed the curtain.
いらっしゃい。
Welcome. Oh. The inside was as aged as the outside, but it looked well maintained.
じゃあ、お客さん
Is he a visitor, Chimmy-chan? But generally, this game is a visual novel, and it expressed it itself, too, and I knew that part, like, going in, too. Ah, I see. But I'm just kind of interested in seeing where this would go, even though some of the details that I got from the things that they have you go through for the first time putting it up just reminded me of Archetype Arcadia. Because from that, it seemed like it was pretty forgiving in that it gave me a chart to go back and make other decisions, but so far they didn't give me too much choices because I don't have any keys. But if I had to guess, this is going to be a bit like Clanad, except more of the horror mystery vibe. Let's see, the hostess looking lady asked. Though somewhat aged and fatigued, she was definitely beautiful. There were two others beside her. One was a lady in her 70s or 80s. She was probably the one I saw this morning. The silhouette matched. The other was a man who seemed a bit younger than her, probably in his late 60s. Though they were just sitting there, there was a menacing aura about them.
紹介するね。久石春明さん。昨日の晩、皿長で迷ってたのを、ちえみが保護しました。
Alright, I'm getting close to time, but I want to finish this scene before I call it, so we'll wait for the next transition before I call stream. It's a bit linear, huh? I got more of the impression that there were like multiple ends, and that's kind of the thing that I got that reminded me of Clanad, but makes sense that it's kind of linear with me having to get the keys to get the other routes. So it makes sense in that regard. Let's see. I'll introduce him. This is Haruaki Fusaishi. I found him at Saranaga last night and took him into my care. Their reactions were powerful. The lady gasped while the two elders rose to their feet with alarm. The tension was already there the moment I walked in and reached its peak.
気にするのもわかるけど、これは単なる偶然です。
I know you're concerned, but this is just a
と
coincidence.
違って、この人は素性が明らかだし、バイクで旧道に突っ込んで事故ったって非常に気の毒な事情もある。
Unlike that little girl, he knows exactly where he came from. He went on an old path with his bike and crashed. It's actually really sad. Wait, little girl? If I had to guess, it was probably the girl I saw in the opening because there was a child there. So, but she must have wandered in the night before him.
そんなわけで、我々としてはこの人がちゃんと帰れるように手伝ってあげるのがいいとちえみは思います。
That's why I think we should help him leave.
どうですか、皆様方。
What do you think? After saying all that, Jamie fell silent. The ball was in their court now.
まあ、それは大変。
Now that is troubling. The lady voiced a harmless opinion, careful not to upset the old people. It was pretty clear who was in charge. There were elders in more ways than one.
ちゃんはなんで夜にサラナガなんぞ言っとったかね。
Chi-chan, why did you even go to Aranaga at night? Well, that's a good question there.
虫の知らせかな。前の日にあんなことあったし、眠れなかったから。
I had a hunch, I guess. You know what happened. I couldn't fall asleep. Again, she's showing that she seems to know more than she let on, especially when she voiced her concern for our safety and saying would happen. Wood's a bit stronger than should or could, but it's still in the same realm. But I don't know what to suspect her of just yet.
それじゃあやっぱり読み人じゃないんかね。
Then he's gotta be a Yomibito. Shut it, Taiba. From the conversation, it was pretty clear that something had happened before I arrived here. It was probably similar to what happened with me. She'd mentioned some little girl, perhaps there was a child who'd wandered in here like I did. According to Jamie, the Aranaga Rapids were a place of significance around here. It was a place from which dead people came to life or whatever. Oh, so this Tai must have been the E-lady that Boyd mentioned, and the Yomibo Ito must have been a term for the dead who came from there. Apparently, the primary goal here was convincing these elders to approve helping me. Where are you from? The old man's voice put my derailed mind back on track.
はい、東京です。
I'm from Tokyo. How old are ya?
年は24です。
24. Older than she, eh? He chuckled immediately, I immediately realized he was taking a jab at me for hiding behind a younger girl. Well, we're out of our element, pal.
申し遅れました。
Where he
久
is.
明です。芹沢さんにも紹介された通り、バイクで事故って迷い込みました。
Nice to meet you. I'm Haruaki Fusaishi. Like she said, I wandered into town after my bike
ど
crashed.
うやら僕は、ここでは異分子のようで、変なことを言ったりしたりして、皆さんに迷惑かけたくないなと。
I seem to be a total outsider here, so I didn't want to speak out of turn.
芹沢さんに紹介をお願いしたんですが、僕から改めてお願いします。
That's why I asked her to talk on my behalf, but I think I should say something at
す
least.
ぐ出て行きますから、それまでは僕の存在を多めに見ていただけないかと。
I won't trouble you any longer than I have to, so I would be grateful if you pardoned my brief
それ
stay.
と、僕を助けてくれた芹沢さんを責めないであげてください。
And please don't blame her for helping me.
春明さん、
Hey, Haruaki-san.
おそらく芹沢さんは、ここの常識を外れたところで、僕を助けてくれたんだと思うんです。学生たちもみんな驚いてた。
I think she went against this village's customs by helping me out. The students also seemed surprised. My.
これでも大人です。自分の責任は自分で取りますし、皆さんにかけた迷惑は可能な限り償います。
I'm an adult. I'm willing to take responsibility for any trouble I caused as best I can.
どうか、お願いします。
So please put up with me. I bowed my head.
年取る、タイバ
He seems alright to me, Taiba.
私は好かんわね。そんなに髪茶色に染めてから。
Don't know about that. Look at his hair, all colored brown. And why is that weird? We're supposed to be in Japan where everyone kind of has brown or black hair. So, don't get what you're concerned about. Shit, I forgot I didn't look very personal to more traditionalist
ー。
people.
よそは皆こうよ。はよう返せばえ
Outsiders are all like that. Just help him get out of here, I
おいじゃ
says.
好きにしなさいね。
Do what you want. I guess I got their heart and felt half-hearted
え。
approval.
春秋。春か。うちの孫も春じゃ。紛らわしい。
Haruaki Haru, like my granddaughter, what a mess. So that girl was your granddaughter, huh?
あ、もしかして
so that means
そう
you're...
春ちゃんのおじいさんの牧島勘三さんよ。
Yep, he's Haru-chan's grandpa. Kanzo and Makishima. Why does he remind me of Heihachi? He just gives off that aura to me, although he's probably a bit kinder in that, who knows, but right now he's just reminding me of Heihachi from Tenken.
どうも。
A pleasure. I didn't know what else to say. Haru-chan and I weren't on the best of terms so far. Anyway, it seemed like we were past the difficult part.
田中に突っ込んだか。
Drove into Saranaga, eh?
ええ、コンビニで道を聞いた後、脇道に入って未舗装になったところで滑り落ちて、横転しました。
No, actually, I asked for directions at a convenience store, went down a side road, and ended up losing control on an unpaved section.
サラナが登ったか。なぜ途中で引き返さね
And then you win Saranaga. Why didn't you turn around? Well, he had already come a long way. He wasn't impressed by my choice of actions. It just hit me that I had no idea how much time passed between the crash and my meeting with
え。
Amy.
と匠で見てきちゃる。
Takumi and I'll go see it. That just came off weird, but we'll see who this other person is that he mentions.
は顔見よるわよ。
Takumi's working in the field.
追い出す思うて手伝わせ。
It's to get him to leave. Let the boy help.
カンちゃんはいつもそうね。
You never change, Kanchan.
ばあちゃん、おやさん、どうした？
What's going on here? We're joined by a new inhabitant.
こいつは？
Cheney, who's that guy?
たくみ姉ちゃん。
Takumi Ni-chan. So he's her big brother, huh? Or it just might be just someone older, because Japan can be like that. Oh, so he was the one we saw in the field. Wow, he sure looked big from up close. All that field work was good for his muscles, clearly, and from what I could tell, he was in his 30s. As Jamie introduced me and told him of my situation, I found out his name, Takumi Muro.
ああ、そいつは災難だったな。ああ、おやさん。
Man, that must have been hard, old man Konzo. I'm not too sure about the rest of you here. But even though his last name is Muro there, I'm like, that's only one letter different than Muto from Yu-Gi-Oh! Or actually, wait. You say Moto, so there's probably an O in there, so... Guess not, but that's kind of what I was thinking.
わしとお前で拾う。
We'll pick it up.
だな。ばあちゃん、こいつ助けっからちょっと待っててな。もう農薬は巻き終わってるから、昼から草刈るわ。
Thought so. Taiba check and wait a bit while I help the guy. I already spread the stuff on the field, so I'll mow the grass at noon.
匠は優しいね。
What a good boy.
こんなもんなんでもないって。すぐ何もなかったようにできるからよ。
Ha ha ha. It ain't a big deal. I'll be so quick you'll think nothing happened.
ね
Good to hear. Nothing, eh?
え、お兄ちゃんや。
Boy?
え、僕ですか？
Me, what is it?
ここは休みず言うてね。あんまりええ場所じゃないんよ。
Here in Yasumizu, it ain't a good place. Huh? It was the place that wasn't good, not my presence here.
私らもよそのもんが苦手だし、よそのもんも触れんがええ。
We don't like outsiders here, and outsiders should let sleeping dogs lie.
だから、はよ出てお行き。
So you should hurry and leave. You're just making me more curious, madam. Just more and more curious to know what's going on. Because warnings to leave like that and pleadings just signify something's gonna go on.
はい、そのつもりです。
That's the
話
plan.
はついた感じか？
So it's settled?
ありがとう、たくみ兄ちゃん。
Yep, thanks, Takumi Ni-chan. I was beginning to understand how things worked here. Although Ken Onzo Makishima's voice is the most powerful here, it was also important to get Tai-san's approval. Konzo was probably in charge of tackling the settlement's practical problems, while Tai-san provided spiritual and moral direction. And when it was time to be civilized, Takumi-san came and convinced Tai-san, acting as an intermediary. It looked like Takumi Isan himself understood such subtleties, and Jamie seemed to rely on this side of him.
ここらで一つどうぞ。
Here you go. The lady brought some tea to the old folk. Perfect timing.
香織さん、俺には飯頼むぜ。
Oh, Kaori-san, looking forward to getting some food. So that was her name.
朝早くからお疲れ様でした。
Sure, I'll make a lot. Sure, I'll make a lot. It'll be a reward for waking up early and working hard.
なーに、安水とばあちゃんと香織さんのためなら、へでもねえよ。
Hey, I'm doing it for Sumizu, Bachan. And you, it's nothing really. Oh my. These two sure seem to get along. They looked about the same age too.
お客さんもご飯にされます？
Would you like something to eat too?
あ、いえ、いただいてきたので。
No thank you. I already ate.
それじゃあお茶をどうぞ。おにぎりでもお出ししましょう。
Then here's some tea. I can also get you a light snack if you'd like. What would you say to some onigiri?
ああ、それは。
Oh, that would
ご
be...
めんなさい。ちょっと急ぎで電話借りていいかな、香織さん。
Sorry, can we borrow the phone? We need it quick. Oh?
それはいいけど、お茶くらいは。
Sure, but why not have some tea first?
でも本当緊急だから。行こう、春明さん。
Thanks, but it's urgent. Let's go, Haruaki-san.
うん。
Sure. It didn't look like I could say no. Alright. This seems like a good spot, so I'm gonna save here if I can. Okay. There we go. Save there. So just do that. Okay. And then I'm gonna call it a day. I thank you all for coming. If you're watching this over on YouTube and you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like and share this with anybody else that you think might enjoy this. And if you'd like the chance to chill with me again, be sure to hit that bell icon and be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon to hopefully be notified of when I'll be streaming again. And as for when I'll be streaming again, I want to say about tomorrow afternoonish, which is usually a longer stream. Bye, Savies, which is a bit of a longer stream, but I usually keep that stuff up to date on my YouTube community profile, and if you guys are watching on the Twitch, you all know what to do. Speaking of Twitch, let me check on somebody to raid. Alright, let's see. I feel like giving you guys something more of a chill vibe. So let's go looking for a Genshin stream. Okay, let's see here. All right. That one's a bit too much. Portuguese, no. we are going to be raiding Adelphron. They are playing Genshin Impact and likely exploring the new region. I don't know anything about the streamer, but I hope they're chill. Oh, apparently that's not allowed. So let's try and look for a different game. Looks like somebody's doing the demo of the Trails in the Sky First Chapter remake, so let's try rating a Hoppy the Fool. And hopefully you guys enjoy that. I don't know anything about them, but I hope that they're nice and chill. Give them my regards and tell them that I will be there when I can. And with that out of the way, I thank you all for coming. Bye.